It's become a very famous argument now, and this is an argument that is sometimes called, given a fancy name called the Kalam Cosmological argument. That's the name of it, but the argument basically goes like this. It says that the universe exists now. We actually have a universe that exists right now. Here we are. The universe either had a beginning or there was no beginning. Notice that this is an exhaustive dilemma. There's no middle ground. Everybody's going to have to end up in one or two of those groups. That's everybody. You have to pick a side on that. Now, the argument tries to show that that's not true, but that it's true that the universe had a beginning. Well, if the universe had a beginning, the beginning was either caused or it was uncaused. Note again, this appears to be another exhaustive dilemma. One is just the negation of the other. One of these has got to be true. There's no third ground. The argument tries to show that this option is not the case, and that the universe, in fact, was caused. The beginning of the universe was caused. If the beginning of the universe was caused, it was either caused by something personal, or it was caused by something impersonal. And the argument tries to show that there was a personal cause for the beginning of the universe. There was a personal cause for the beginning of the universe. Now, let me give you 3 reasons to believe the universe began to exist. Let's start through this argument. This is the argument. And the first piece of evidence is that the universe that we live in had a beginning. By the universe, I don't mean anything persnickety at this point. By the universe, I just mean the sum total of space, time, and matter. That will do for our purposes. So the universe is the sum total of space, time, and matter. Now, the idea here is that this universe began to exist. And the first piece of evidence for the beginning of the universe is a philosophical argument. It's called in philosophy an a priori argument. It doesn't depend upon the senses. It's a philosophical argument that the universe had a beginning. This argument was known all the way back before the time of Christ, so it's been around a long time. And the argument basically, it turns on the idea that it's impossible to cross infinity. Nothing could cross infinity. Now, infinity is infinitely larger than any finite number. In fact, we could show that infinity plus or minus any number is infinity. So if you take infinity and subtract 50 from it, you still got infinity. If you take infinity and add 50 quadrillion zillion, you still have infinity. Now, it's impossible to cross infinity. To illustrate this, suppose that I went to heaven and God said to me, Moreland, it's good to have you here. You're a good guy.
Yeah, I think that this argument that he's on about infinity, I think a lot of the Western intellectuals miss that argument. They don't realize that there's a lot of sophisticated philosophers out there who are theists, whether Catholic, Protestant, who go back to Sir Thomas Aquinas, and they forget that Sir Thomas Aquinas' arguments for the existence of God was only is 5 points, 5 arguments. Were only a small portion, a couple of pages of his summa. When you think about this word infinity and the relationship between God and infinity, that takes a massive chunk of what Sir Thomas Aquinas is talking about in his philosophical and theological trajectory. And I think that's what's been missed by a lot of the skeptics when they're actually debating and arguing the Kalam argument. They don't realize the sophisticated, nuanced philosophical work that was done in the Middle Ages concerning the issue of infinity. and how that relates to the argument. I'll leave the link to J.P. Moreland, and I'll let you listen to what he has to say. But what he's saying is actually coming from very sophisticated, nuanced, philosophical and intellectual tools that the Western intellectuals and even skeptics are not really grappling with, concerning the sophistication of this Kalam argument. I'm well aware of William Lane Craig, and well aware of the arguments against William Lane Craig, but there's more sophisticated arguments to the Kalam that are not being aired today by secular humanist philosophers. They're not actually critiquing the more sophisticated nuances of the Kalam argument. There we are. I'll leave that with you.